Ah yes, I can remember this one vividly, as one of the first issues of the comic I read that convinced me that comics could actually be really surprising. And coming back to it now? Well, tough to say since it's a prelude to a special issue that I never actually read when I was a kid, so let's just focus on the issue and see how it stands on its own as an introduction to a much larger story. The cover is definitely eye-catching, with a roboticized Sonic standing front and center before a massive grid background. Does his design remind anybody else of that Master Metal Sonic that was at the end of Sonic Heroes? The background itself, though, does come off as a little bit lazy, as it's mostly a collection of giant Sonic heads all making different expressions. At the very least, nothing's just a copy and paste on this cover. We open on Sonic apparently freaking out after Sally denies him his plan. And what is this plan? Sonic wants to let Robotnik capture and roboticize him using the neural mechanics that Rotor invented for him to keep hold of himself during the process in order to take Robotnik by surprise. Literally everyone else in the room is against the idea, Rotor even bringing out the fact that Sally attempted the exact same thing and it went pretty bad pretty quickly. And Bunny speaks from experience on exactly what it feels like to be at least partially roboticized. Sonic angrily storms out after being denied, and Antoine even suggests that they might want to monitor him to make sure he doesn't let his emotions get the best of him, an idea that Sally quickly shoots down, knowing that Sonic may be a hothead, but he's not disloyal. Sonic goes home to work out and blow off some steam, only to have a dumbbell dropped on his head, knocking him out cold. And who is it who did this? Why, none other than Knack the Weasel, as it turns out, making good on his promise to appear after that last issue, delivering Sonic to Robotnik. And Robotnik knew this would happen thanks to reading ahead in the script. Cheater. Knack asks for payment, but of course Robotnik doesn't keep his end of the bargain, even letting Crabmeat get a moment in the sun, transforming into a giant version of himself, grabbing Knack in one of his claws. And then, much to the shock and awe of everyone reading at the time, Robotnik puts Sonic into the roboticizer. There's no big rescue, there's no dramatic escape, Robotnik gleefully pushes the start button, and just like that, Mecha Sonic is born. Robotnik finally has his arch-enemy under his control in a body of metal and wires. And it's a pretty chilling image, despite the comedic tone the scene had before. To test out his new minion's power, Robotnik has him attack and destroy the giant powered-up Crabmeat, reducing him to an especially tiny pile of scrap metal before ordering him to go out to the Great Forest and destroy the Freedom Fighters. Cut back to the edge of the Great Forest, where he's rapidly approaching, with Sally, Antoine, and Rotor standing there watching him approach, Nicole informing them that the beast approaching is a roboticized Sonic, as if it wasn't obvious from his design. He immediately attacks them, and despite using a hologram projector to confuse him, they know it won't stop him for long. So they put in a call to someone for help, and who should show up but Bunny Rabbit. And I have to say, as a fan of the character and after so many issues of her either skulking in the background or just not appearing at all, this scene is actually really nice to see. She immediately engages Metal Sonic, even managing to get in some good hits on him, tricking him into running into a tree and really putting her abilities as a half-robot to good use. However, it doesn't take long for him to put her on the defensive, backing her up while she uses an energy shield to defend herself. Sally puts in an emergency call to Tails, telling him to call in their secret weapon. Cut to Robotnik, who sees that Mecha is basically in a stalemate with Bunny, and so he quickly eviscerates one of his SWAT bots to build a remote power booster, using it to power up Sonic to the point that he manages to electrocute Bunny, sending her down to the ground. Even so, she manages to throw herself right back into the fray with a phrase that hasn't aged well, shall we say? Oh boy, that's awkward. But we do get this really cool splash page of her facing down Mecha, so that's cool, right? Despite her hitting him with a direct blast from her pulse cannon, he doesn't go down, and he takes her out of the fight for good this time with one more shot from his own lasers. Then he dashes off, apparently forgetting about Sally and Rotor, as he heads off for Knothole. Meanwhile, Tails has gotten their secret weapon all briefed on what's going on, and who could it be?
Knock knock, it's Knuckles.
Yes, who better to take on Sonic than his friendly nemesis? Knuckles is launched up into the air just in time to meet Mecha as he gets within range, uppercutting him nice and hard, leading to a brief fight scene. And unlike all the other times these two have tussled up to this point, this fight actually feels like it has some weight behind it. It feels like the stakes are real and are high. This is especially true when Sonic unleashes another beam attack that puts even him down for the count, and the comic ends with Sally stating that they don't have a choice but to try Operation Last Resort. What is it? Well, you'll have to read the special to find out, sillies. This is a really good story with a lot of great moments and plenty of continuity, starting off with how the beginning of the story is handled, with Sonic wanting to intentionally try to get roboticized and everyone, including Sally, who had tried the same thing before, shooting it down. Tails even brings up meeting Knuckles' ancestor, much to Knuckles' confusion, and it even gave Bunny some much-needed screen time in a main story for a change. And while she did get defeated, she showed that she's fully capable of putting up an actual fight when the chips are down. Not to mention, this is actually a story where the tension is real, the pacing is great, and the stakes are genuinely high. But it does manage to sprinkle a few decent gags throughout. Robotnik's breaking the fourth wall is the only gag I would honestly call out of place, but that's made up for with him just chilling in his jammies later on. This is generally a well-constructed story and leaves us wanting more, which is good because hot damn, that's quite a cliffhanger to leave on. The art is also fairly good as well. Pat Spaziante handles the pencils in this issue, with Brian Thomas as the inker and Barry Grossman as the colorist. They all do a good job, though if I'm honest, Pat's art has always been 50-50 for me when it comes to interiors. He draws amazing covers, that can't be overstated, and he was one of the only good things about the Dreamwave Mega Man comic I reviewed a while back, or did I ever get to the issue he was featured in? Who cares, it was shit anyway. In Archie Sonic though, sometimes his work can be a little overly detailed. When it comes to the issue though, I think he hits it out of the park, as does everyone involved with the art in this book. I really don't have any major complaints about the look of it. Next time, we're going to continue this narrative as we take a look at the Mecha Madness special to see just how this is going to resolve itself. And I hope it lives up to what it's promising on the cover. I'll see you all next time, everyone.